Yeah, in today's session, we'll be looking at issues pertaining to human resource management processes, and there are a number of human resource management processes which employers have to undertake within the organization. So, we all know that in most cases we think that the first process in human resource management is recruitment. But this is not right, because when it comes to human resource management, is the first process that is there that has to be done by the employer is issue related to human resource planning. And when you talk about human resource planning, this is whereby you are looking at the supply and the demand side of the human resource. So, for example, if you have established an organization, you might be thinking to say, how many staff members do I need for me to perform different activities which we have planned to do, and also in light of the strategic plan in terms of what you want to do. So you might need to understand how many staff members you need to perform that particular function. But also, when the organization is in existence, you might also need to look at the supply and the demand to say how much people do I need, and also maybe how much people are available on the market that can come to join us. So in that kind of an arrangement, is always to marry the two between the demand and also the supply side. So if you find that maybe the demand is high for human resource management, then you might need to take interventions like maybe that is that the organization is looking for more employees. There isn't for you maybe to promote some employees, but also sometimes you might need to promote some employees. In other cases, you might also wish to train some employees, and consequently, you might need to recruit. So the recruitment comes as one of the processes when you have done the human resource planning and you have seen that there's a shortfall. So you might need to decide to recruit. And when you have noted that maybe it's now the supply side that is high, then what you need to do is it implies that you have a lot of staff members within your organization. So you might need to think of other interventions like transfers, and also sometimes you might think of issues of retrenchments, or maybe forcing people for early retirement or asking people to go for early retirements. So there are a number of things that you can do as an employer to make sure that you have reduced the number of people who are working for the organization. What is important is to ensure that the employees or the organization is operating at an optimal or with the optimal number of employees. That is at an equilibrium where you are concluding to say maybe this is a suitable number of employees that are supposed to be with me or with the organization. So it is always important that you should be able to focus on the human resource planning. So what we need to know is the human resource planning, I think it involves about 7 steps. The first thing is to interface with the strategic plan, and also scanning the environment to see maybe how many staff members you need, and also what is it that you have planned to take in the next coming years. And also at the same time, we need to take an inventory of the company's current human resource, whether you have the required skills within the organization, but also you need to forecast for the demand of human resources for the future to see what kind of human resources you might need in future. And also you need to look at the focus on the supply side, what is available or what might be available in future. And after that, when you have compared now the forecast of the demand and the supply, you can plan actions which needed to be fill the anticipated shortages or maybe increases. So in short, this is where we need now to look at the demand and the supply side, and be able to provide information. And lastly, we need to provide feedback into the strategic planning process to say, are you going to recruit some employees, or you're going to maybe terminate some employees. So these are the decisions which you need to make as in an organization. And I think we all know that there are certain things which are very critical, and even the Bible. I think if you read Luke 14 verse 28, it says, for example, he wants to build a tower. If you want to build a tower, when you first sit down and first estimate how many people you might need to have to see if you have enough money or even to complete such kind of a thing. So you need to understand that this is all about planning, to saying if you want to build a tower, would you not look at the resources that you might need to have. So even in organizations, when you want to do to carry out your operations, you might need to look at the human resource to say, do you have enough resources, or maybe are the resources adequate? So in short, that's what we call the human resource planning. So it's always important to appreciate that human resource planning is very, very important to any organization and have to be applied. And you need to have maybe some experts who can be able to forecast the future to see what kind of human resource you may need. Yeah, so that's what we need to know as in part of human resource management processes. So in short, the first process in human resource management is not the recruitment, but it's the human resource planning, which is very, very important to know the number of people that you may need in the organization. So thanks so much for listening to this video.